Okay. Okay, I'm going to welcome the Facebook, the YouTube people. Then I'll come back to you. Is there any to bring it closer to me? Can you bring it on the full screen? And you need the film as well, so I'm doing the film too. Okay, did you get the film you wanted? Hello, Doris, welcome. Who else is there? Who else do we welcome? I see a good number of you already gathered. Nkeshi, hi. Yep, I'm greeting those people on YouTube first before I go for those on favor, blessings. Nice to see you people. Oh, you already got it somewhere. You're looking for it again. Okay, who is that? Kenny. Oh, that's Bishop. Uyi. Felix. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. All right. Let me try and fix this here. Let's see. Okay. Let me check on Facebook and see if our Facebook is on. We are going to have an interesting program today. And with a certain Shegun Fatuma. You are going to, you have a lot to learn about Shegun Fatuma today. But you will. Don't be in a hurry. Just be ready to listen. There are a lot of things to learn about Shegun Fatuma. He just published a book. If you didn't see that book, it was on my page, and it was on the internet, and it is on Facebook, on YouTube. It's called A Diamond Hawking on the Streets of Lagos. Well, now that A Diamond on the Street is now a scientist. Once hawking on the streets of Lagos, from the streets, is now become a scientific researcher and a scientific person in Europe, in one of the best universities in the world. He has a story that is similar to mine, from grass to grace. Shegun Fatuma is a grass to grace story. And that is unbelievable that this could happen in our lifetime, unless there is an eyewitness or the person himself is alive to tell the story. But this book, I read it personally, and it gives a lot of hope. And I think this is one of the books that must be a must read to all Nigerian kids, from primary to secondary school especially, so that we will know, and to all adults, for everybody to know that there is hope, no matter how hopeless things might be. Okay, let me go ahead and welcome a few people from Facebook, and once I do that, I will show you a film from Nigeria And there is a reason why I want to show that film. Because in that film, you will see a picture of who this my hero today used to be like. So on Facebook, we have Jimmy Black, Iye Doyen, Isaac Kehinde, Malaika, Adewale Jones, Kola Tosho, Francisca, thoughtful writer, Ekeban, Patience Ronke, Roslyn Amaka, and many others. Now, we are welcoming all of you to Facebook and YouTube, please, I want to call upon you to have a look at this video here. And this video here will tell you something about the life that my hero today lived before today. So we're waiting for them to set up the video for us. And I'm sure you have heard of a story of a certain girl. I think they call her Ajumoke or whatever. Jumoke or something. You people probably heard the story of Jumoke, right? That was a hawker and became a celebrity in Nigeria. But let's look at this one. Is the volume there? Please put on the volume. This is Lagos.
An average child, when it's summer, it is time to have fun and to attend summer classes, or better to go on a vacation with your family and your friends. But this is not the situation for these kids. They have to make money for their parents. What is your name?
Oluwadam Larry.
Your name is Oluwadam Larry. I'm like, what say you sell?
I dey sell biscuits. Pure water.
My mommy. Your mommy. Now your mommy now they sell the plantain.
Yes. Yes.
My mommy.
My mom.
You dey sell groundnut for your mommy?
For my mom. For my mom. I just want to help my grandma to sell.
How long have you been doing this business?
I've spent almost 2 years on it.
2 years?
Yes.
As in selling things on the road, running after vehicles, how do you do it?
There's nothing very country to do now. I don't know if you say now we're going to do them. We're going to do them as we see.
So like, how many cartons do they sell in a day?
It depends on how the market be. Sometimes we sell 3 cartons.
3 cartons.
Sometimes 4.
So how many hours will it take you to sell all these things that you have here?
We can spend almost some days we can come around 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock
In the morning?
in the morning before we go out around 11 o'clock or after 10.
In the night? Before
Yes.
you sell all these things?
You dey sell orange when you dey go school now because now the day period now make you dey sell the orange.
No, sometimes when I come back from school, I will help my mom. If I come from late, I'll go and sell my water.
Have you ever experienced accidents when you are trying to run after vehicles?
So many.
Tell me one experience, the one that you think that you can never forget.
The one I think I will never forget is one certain day that somebody was killed here. Yeah.
Not the accountant. You want to be a lawyer. This is not one of the most easiest jobs in the world to do. You have to convince people, you have to enjoy the smoke, you have to run, you have to be smart. And then we find children here in Lagos who do this every day of their life and they do it so well. They make it look very easy, but it's not as easy as it looks. My name is Adelaja and this is BassaBlog.com.
Hello, guys. Bring me. We need to show. There is a reason why I showed you the video that I just showed you now, and the reason is because I have a guest today whose story is very similar to the story of the kids that I just showed to you right now. And his name is Dr. Segun Fatumo. Dr. Segun Fatumo, hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Is it true that you used to be one of those kids in that street?
Yes, I used to be.
Please, the world wants to hear your story today.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. So my name is Segun Fatumo. I was born exactly 40 years ago in an area called Mafoluku Oshodi in Lagos. So I was born to the family of a Christian family. At a point in my life, as far as I remember, from 1986, I found myself on the streets of Lagos, hawking all manners of things. So that was my story.
From
and
the
that
age
was the
of
story
6.
that I also share in my new book.
From the age of 6.
From 1986.
From what age?
That was age 9.
From the age of 9, you found yourself
Yes.
in the street of Lagos.
Yes.
That Oshodi Road.
No, okay. Initially, I was born in Mafoluku Oshodi. So I lived there until when I was 9. So later on, so we moved to the boundary of Lagos and Ogun State, around area called Iju-Shaga, and that's where I did most of the hawking until I was around 16 years old.
Is it Ota area?
No, not Ota, it's around Iju-Shaga area.
From 9 years old to what age?
So I was 16 years old.
Wow. Oh. So you know what those kids are feeling?
Yes, definitely.
Most of them are saying they were doing it for their mom, or their mom asked them to do it. How was your own story like?
The major reason why anybody will up on the street is because of poverty. There's no other reason. If you're comfortable, if you have abundance in your house, there will not be any reason for any child or any adult to up on the street.
What was the situation with you growing up then?
So I was born 40 years ago, like I said, and my mom was 19 years old when I was born.
Ooh, that's unusual in a Yoruba family.
So that tells you the background. Sometimes people have to get married early for many reasons. So by the time I was born,
was she married or it was just?
She was married. She was married, and she had a child before I was born that died. So that meant that she married around 17 years old. So I was born when she was 19. My dad was 26 years old. So she never went to school, never went to any school. My dad had a primary school education. So we were living in Mafoluku Oshodi in a room that was given to them by my uncle.
Go ahead and talk. Go ahead. Keep on talking until I stop you.
Yeah. So that was the situation. So we were living in that room. So I remember when I was 8 years old, so we were all together, myself, 3 other siblings, my dad and my mom. So we're living in one little room. So I remember vividly that room, we used to partition that room into 2. So my dad and mom, they would normally sleep on one side, and we, the children, would sleep on the other side. So at some point, my little sister died when we were in that room.
Wow.
So that was what happened until 1986. So eventually, my parents, they took a very bold step. Somebody introduced them to a piece of land somewhere at the boundary of Lagos and Ogun State. It's around Ijushaga, Edinolobo area. So they took a step to get that piece of land. So they built a house for many years, and eventually they decided to move to the house. So when the house was not completed, so we moved to the house to an uncompleted building in October 1986. And so that means that the financial situation got worsened because at that time, my mom was pregnant again with another daughter. And so we're in a house that they wanted to finish. So we're living there. And so the reason why we have to up on the street, that was a reason for, that was more reason for that. So I was doing that also when we moved to that area for many, many years.
Okay, I would still like to come back to your mom
Yeah.
and dad, but before I talk about that, you are now a lecturer or a professor, you could say, a French, a lecturer and a research fellow at Cambridge.
Yes, I'm a research scientist at the University of Cambridge and Wellcome Trust Sangha Institute in Cambridge.
Now, that is unbelievable, almost mind-blowing. How can you go from street hawking to Cambridge? Not just a student in Cambridge, but a lecturer in Cambridge. What is happening? Is it for real? There are not too many Nigerian lecturers in Cambridge that I know personally. Maybe there are millions of them there, but there are not too many that I know, and not too many that any other person know, which means it's a rare thing for you to come across not just a student in Cambridge, which could be many, but a lecturer in Cambridge. And then from this background, because your own background is almost as bad as mine. Because my own background is that my own mother also was not educated, didn't go to school, but she didn't marry at 19 or 17. That is absolutely, I'm still going to ask you about that because that is unusual, at least from where I come from. I'm Fatumo, is that Ondo?
No, it's Osun State.
Osun State. But Yoruba people don't encourage that so much. Is that common in that area?
No, I don't think so. But if there is a reason to do that, so my mom, for example, she didn't grow up with her parents.
Okay.
So she grew up with a foster parents.
Okay.
So, and there was a reason for her to marry early.
Okay. Yeah, that's normally what will happen in Yoruba land. Only if the kid, a baby, gets pregnant early or gets, something just, if there is a condition, a reason like that, like you said, an unfortunate situation. That's what will happen. Because even though my own mother was not educated, she also didn't go to school. But of course, she only married at 19 or 17. She married only at 26. But my father too was also not educated, no primary school, nothing, just like your own. Your own was primary school, right?
Yes, primary school.
Okay, my own didn't even go to primary school. So my mother and father didn't go to any primary school, but they were in the village. But your own was in Lagos. I mean, that is even more strange.
So they got married in the village. So they were looking for a greener pasture. So they moved to Lagos.
Okay.
So they moved to my uncle's house in Lagos.
Okay. So they were looking, that was in the process of looking for a greener pasture. They moved to Lagos.
Yes.
But you were now born in Lagos.
So I was born in Lagos.
I see. So your parents would have been coming from a very, very humble background. I mean, when you were growing up, did you ever dream of Cambridge? How could you ever, did you ever even heard of Cambridge? Did you even ever hear of Cambridge?
No. The first
you
time
never heard of Cambridge? No. Now you're a lecturer there.
So the first time...
Wait. I want to call on everybody to go and share this video right now. Please, everyone that is watching us, please go and call everybody. Call your relatives at home. Let them quickly go to Facebook. Let them quickly go to YouTube. Because this is, now mine is a unique story, but this is a formidable, unbelievable, mind-blowing, a sensational story. This is a sensational story right here. And I'm going to go back to that situation, that film again. We are going to show it again of people hawking in Lagos. And we all know it. We have all seen it. I used to hawk like that too. But I was hawking not in Lagos. I was working in a safer place. In a safer place. I was hawking in the villages, between villages. So it's much more safer. But to hawk in Lagos, how I wish I could gather all those children in Lagos right now and show them your biography and show them your book and show them this program that we are doing right now and show it to everybody in Nigeria, every street child in Nigeria, and say, look, oh, there is a place called Cambridge, oh. In Nigeria is teaching there, oh. And this Nigeria used to hawk in the street of Lagos. So what could have happened? What could have led to your mom and dad coming? What kind of background is that? That must have been a very underprivileged background, because thanks to Awolowo, you know, the Yorubas have been uplifted much more higher than this. It is in the north you should see more of this, or in those states where there was no free education. But thanks to Awolowo, 40 years ago, free education was already available. Free education was already available. It is because of that even though my parents didn't go to school, but I went to school, and all generation of people, people like that already, even parents of my own parents, they were supposed to already go to school. So what kind of family background are your parents having that makes them, to be of that very absolutely impossible situation?
So my mom, according to the story, due to poverty, so her parents could not raise her. So she was sent to a foster mother where she was living, and she couldn't go to school. But my dad...
Was she just living, or she was working as a help or house help?
Yeah, she has to work for them. She has to work. If you live as a, the way they do foster parenting in Africa in those days, it's not the way they do foster parenting now. So you have to work for them. You have to go to farm and do some work for them to train you.
And she was in the village with her parents?
Yeah, she was there with the foster parents.
She was sent from her own village to another village?
Yes. She was sent from her own village to another village. That's my father's village.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead with the story. We want to hear.
So that was her story. So she never went to school any day in her life. But my father had primary school education. And according to the story also, he tried to get admission to secondary school. And there was no help. There was no one to help him. So he could not go to school. So eventually...
Was he also from a underprivileged, from a modest background like your mom's background, or what? Do they have similar background or what?
Yeah, they had similar background. But my father's background was a bit better because he was able to go to primary school. But he could not continue the education because there was no money to further the education at that time.
Were there no school, no secondary school, no primary school in the village there?
There was primary school and secondary school, but at that time, you have to pay for them. For my mom, I think our case was more of women are not allowed to go to school.
Yeah, that was the case of my own mom too.
Yeah, so women are allowed to go to school, but my father was privileged to go to primary school, but he could not continue to secondary school. So that was their story. And I think that was the reason why they got married early. And they were fortunate to be invited to Lagos. So they were living in Lagos with my uncle.
Father side, mother side?
Yes.
Who invited?
So my uncle, the father side.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were living, so my uncle provided them a room where they were living. So we lived in that room for more than 10 years.
One single room with how many people, sir?
one single room. When I was 8, we were 6 living in that room. So myself.
6 in that room?
Yes, my dad, my mom, myself, and 3 other siblings. So we were living in that room.
How big was the room?
It was a little room, a small room. So what we did was that my parents partitioned the room with a curtain. So they slept the other side. So we slept at the other side.
Not even with a block or a...
No. It's a room. It's one room. So they have to use a curtain to partition into 2.
I've seen such a room in Lagos. Yeah. I have an uncle that lives just like that in Lagos. I mean, I don't know if they are still living like that, but he was living just like that in one room in Shomolu, one room, and many other families also like that. So they had one room, wife, and 5 children.
Yeah.
5 children, husband and wife, one room that was partitioned.
Yes.
And do you know what? The reason I remember this is that on my way to Lagos, to Ukraine, to Europe, I was supposed to travel and no relative in Lagos. So I and my sister, the only place we could stop over was with this uncle who already had 5 children, husband and wife, that is 7 people in one room, one little standard room that is partitioned into 2. No, yeah, but they just only bed was on the other side, all the children here, and then I and my sister still came to stay in that place, but thank God only for one night before I go to the airport. So I know the kind of room you are describing.
So that was some of the room that we were living in. So we were living in that kind of room. So we were 4 children, and my mom and my dad. So eventually, the last born at that time, she died, also in that room. So we're 3.
What do you think will have caused that?
I don't know. Even before I was born, the person that was born before me also died. So for my mom, at her age, at around the early 20s, she already lost like 2 children. So that was the circumstance.
Because there was no hygiene, no health, no condition, no healthy condition, no environment to be giving birth to those children. It's not a healthy state of things. That's why children shouldn't be born into that kind of condition.
Definitely.
And your mother and your dad only was working, right?
Yeah, my dad, because he couldn't go to secondary school, so he became a tailor. So he had a shop around that Mafulu Kushode, where he was sewing clothes for people, and my mom was doing trading.
Petty trading.
Petty trading.
But normally, I know those kind of children they end up helping their parents do petty trading in the street like you are doing. But normally, they never pass WAEC. They never normally pass WAEC. Normally, they end up becoming tall. I mean, what do you call the bus conductors? Yeah, they end up being bus conductors and, people like that just roam the street and do some. So how come you didn't become like that?
I didn't pass WAEC also, but the first time.
Yeah, because the kind of school you are going to, there is just no way you could pass WAEC.
No. So I was going
what kind of school are you going to?
So I went to a school called Agbado Kiaro. It's Agbado District Compressed High School. It's a local school. So I went to that school. And when I was in SS1, SS2, I was also learning to become a tailor.
No.
Yes, I was.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
You were, So you are not just trading, you are not just hawking in the street, but you had condemned, you had seen your life, that your life was going to repeat the life of your father.
Yeah.
As a tailor.
So my father was very religious. So my father believed that when you sow in the morning, you also sow in the evening because you don't know which one will germinate. So as I was going to school, I was also learning the tailoring in a shop.
So you are not even thinking definitely of becoming a lecturer in the university, talk less of Cambridge.
No. that was more than my imagination at that time. There was no way I could think about that.
So you are learning tailoring while you are going to hawk and help your family and going to school at the same time.
Yes, I was going to school.
But that's why you couldn't pass, because one of the reasons I was not good in school, I was not good in primary school. I was one of the worst students. In secondary school, I was one of the worst students. And the reason was that each time I come back from home, my grandmother is waiting for me. We are going to the farm. So I didn't know anything like homework.
I did farming also. I did farming. So we had a plot of land, because at that time things were difficult. So we had some plot of land because we were living at the boundary of Lagos and Ogun State. So we were also planting maize, planting cassava, planting yam and all that. So we learned the art of cultivating farming also. So I did that also.
Yeah, but how was school for you? Primary school, secondary school, was it tough?
Primary school was very easy for me because most of the time I was the best in primary school. I wasn't reading anything, just write the exam and pass the exam.
You are not reading, no.
So I wasn't reading.
No books.
No, I wasn't. So I just, because I know the school was not the, when I was living in Mafuluku Shodi, I was like 7, 8. So when I moved to that place in Jushak, I was always first because, it's not the best school. It's not the best. It's just like a case of a local champion winning the case. So I was the best in the primary school. And when I was in primary 5, so I was given double promotion to go to secondary school. So I didn't finish primary school. So I had 1 year. I went to secondary school 1 year before I completed my primary school.
So is it because of the low level of the school or because of the brilliance?
I think it might be the mixture of both. For my perspective, so the children in that new primary school, they were not as brilliant as the school I was coming from.
Okay, what about the school you are coming from? Were you the best also in that particular school?
Yeah, I was one of the best, but I was not the very best when I was at Ewututu Primary School in Mafuluku.
But you were doing well?
Yes, I was doing well. Not because I was reading, because I just go for the exam and I was able to pass the exam.
That's exactly how I studied. What you are talking now is exactly how I studied. But in my own case, that's not just the way I studied in primary school, but that's the way I studied in secondary school too, until class 4 when I woke up. But before then, I would just go to class and they would say tomorrow is exam. Is it? Okay. Today is exam. Okay. We'll sit down and write. So that is how I also finished primary school. I never read anything. I would just be, but I was always present in class. I think the same thing with you. Always present in every class, never missing class, and then just showing up to give exam, never reading any books, not even books to read. So, but then in your own case, you have to go and work in the farm. You have to go and help your father in tailoring. You have to go and hawk in the street of Lagos. And then you still have to go to school. So that was secondary school for you in that case.
Yeah, secondary school, that was, my mom has a shop and then she was selling everything. So I had to go and hawk for her. So I was alternating between hawking and also tailoring apprenticeship. So until I mastered the art of tailoring also. So I was also very good at doing the tailoring. My father was doing the traditional tailoring and what is called embroidery of clothes. So I was able to do that. So that did not allow me enough time to prepare for the exam. So eventually...
No, what about from secondary school, class 1 to 5? How are you doing?
Yeah, class 1 to 5 in secondary school was good. I was also one of the best. And again, not because I was reading, just because I was just in the midst of people of my caliber. So I was one of the best also in secondary school.
But was that an inferior secondary school as well, or it was competitive?
Yes, it was not one of the best secondary school. And then one way to measure that is that when I did WAEC, even though I was one of the best, I didn't pass my WAEC.
And were you surprised by that?
I wasn't surprised. I had just few credits until I have to sit again for another exam.
You were not surprised that you failed the WAEC?
I was really surprised that I didn't pass as I expected, because we didn't put enough time to study for the exam.
No, what about the teachers?
And I think that what makes a good school is the teachers. So if the teachers are good, the school will be good. Some of them try their best, but
okay. But apart from you, what about some of the, let's say, the top 10 students, the top 10? How many of them passed their WAEC the first sitting?
I think most people were just in my category. I had maybe like few credits, 4 credits, and we have to do a GC so that we can combine 2 results together to get admission to university or polytechnic.
So no one passed outright in the whole school.
I don't think anybody had all the credits at first sitting. I don't think so.
Even the brilliant students.
I was one of the brilliant students.
Okay, but
at some point, I was representing my school for youth competition. So I was one of the brilliant students. But that's just the school at that time.
Okay, for example, because in my own case, look at me very well. If I had failed my WAEC at first sitting, end of story. So since your own story was similar to mine and the poverty level almost similar, what for me is a sign and a wonder that the fact that you are hawking, I was also hawking, but the fact that you were living in that small situation, farming and all that, I was also doing that. But I was not brilliant in secondary school, primary school. I didn't even read. But the last Form 4, that was a year before the last. That was when I came to myself, because my sister told me, if you don't pass this WAEC, you are going to remain in this village forever. If you fail, even that WAEC, the one I gave and I passed, it was just like 10 years ago that I remember they told me who paid for it. I couldn't pay for it. I couldn't find the 50 naira that was needed to go and do the WAEC. Can you imagine the first time I couldn't even pay for WAEC? Talk less of failing it now. Even the person who helped me the first time would have said, we even gathered the money, because I was standing outside. They were not going to allow me to go inside to write the exams for the WAEC because no money, nobody was paid. So the last minute, somebody, I don't even know who paid it. They just say, enter, somebody has paid for you. So that was how I succeeded in writing the exam, the WAEC exam. Now imagine me failing. If I had failed, I wouldn't have even gone back again forever to school. I wouldn't have seen any classroom for the rest of my life. So how come you fail and you are still able to go and give any other exam?
I think I have a very similar situation as yours. When I was in SS2, some people were doing WAEC in other schools. Some of my classmates, they were also as brilliant as mine. Their parents were giving them money for WAEC, and they were saying it in school that they want to do WAEC at SS2, even though they still have 1 more year. But I did not even tell my parents, because I thought that they would never have 500 naira to pay for my WAEC. So I did not mention it to them at all until when
$500 or naira?
500 naira.
Okay.
So I didn't tell them at all, because I assumed that they were not going to have the money. So until when one of my uncle, who is now a reverend, he came to us and said, you should just try WAEC at SS2. So I did that at SS2. I didn't pass the WAEC. I did again at SS3 at the normal time. I didn't pass, so I did again until when I got the required credits.
Who was giving you the money?
Yeah, my parents gave me the money eventually. They gave me the money in SS2. Because I assumed that they will never have that money, they will never have 500 naira. But when my uncle told them that, oh, this guy is brilliant, let him try the WAEC now. So they got me the money to do the WAEC in SS2 and also in SS3.
But
and at that time, you know, when I was in SS1, SS2, SS3, I was already doing tailoring. So I was also making money from tailoring.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was very good at the embroidery that I was doing for my father.
Okay.
So everybody in my locality, they prefer that I do the embroidery for them. And I was also making money at SS1, SS2, and SS3.
But then, for example, in my own family, they would have told me, maybe not the family, but some relatives in my own environment, people would have said, oh, you are good in tailoring anyway. So even if you fail, just face the tailoring. It means maybe God is leading you to do the tailoring.
Yeah, for me, it was also a strategy that, okay, you know, when you sew in the morning, you also sew in the evening. So you don't know whether it's tailoring you will do eventually or you go to university. Just try the two of them. So that was the strategy. So, but eventually, I went to Polytechnic, not even university.
So, but when you failed the WAEC, what gave you the courage to try again? Because in my own case, nobody, in fact, even me, I will not even have the boldness to go and ask that I was going to try again.
Yeah, but I think I had a very strong determination that I wanted to go to university. I wanted to go to higher institution. And so with that determination, I was still doing the tailoring, and I was also reading at home. I wasn't going to school again until I was able to pass the exam.
Oh, so you was reading by yourself, studying?
Yeah, that's when I left secondary school.
So you didn't do extra class to pass the exam, to pass the WAEC?
No, I didn't do. There was no extra class. No.
So it was just individual.
It was individual. Because when I finished my secondary school in 1994, at a point, I picked up a job as a teacher. So I was teaching in a primary school, and I was also preparing for my exam. So I had a lot of things going on for me at the same time.
Because you are seen as brilliant in the school.
Yes, I was seen as brilliant in the school.
But what were your teachers saying after they saw the result? They were not surprised or shocked?
I don't think they were surprised, maybe because they've seen previous results from previous sets before my set. I don't think it was really surprising. I don't think so.
Because I was in the first set of the community grammar high school that I went to. So we were in the first set, and everybody was shocked. And what shocked them was that all the top 10 students failed. And I was just coming from the back, and I passed. Boom. And everybody that they all, you know, they used to give prize out every year. All the people who used to get the prize, they didn't get to university for the next 5-10 years. So, but I was able to make it. God just picked me up from that place. But let's go to your days of hawking in the school, in the street. What is that like?
You see, like I said recently, street hawking is demoralizing and dehumanizing. It's not good for anybody. No child deserves to be on the streets. For me, you know, I was trying to compare myself with my cousins. I had some cousins. They were not hawking. I was hawking. I couldn't understand why I should be on the street hawking. That was demoralizing for me. I was asking myself a lot of questions. Why were they at home? Why do I have to be on the street? Why do I have to do that and all that? And one of the negative effects is low self-esteem. You start thinking about yourself as you are nothing, and you can never make anything out of your life. In my book, I shared an experience when I eventually got a job after my university as a lecturer in Covenant University. And the first day I will ever teach in that university, I couldn't believe it. You see, that spirit was telling me that, oh, you cannot do this. You know, every child here, all the students here, they are far better than you. They were from a very good home. They went to the best school. You didn't go to the good school and all that. That's what was just telling me. That's low self-esteem. Until I took a lot of courage to be able to teach the first class at Covenant University. And since then, I was able to overcome low self-esteem by preparation. So I put in double of preparation than my colleague because I wanted to do better at my work. So I was able to do that to overcome low self-esteem when I was during the university days. So that's one negative effect. So when I see people on the street now, so I think about how that will affect them. I think about how they will look at themselves. I think about how they will see themselves as people that have low worth. So, and that's why now I'm thinking about what can I do as a person or as my family to help some children out of the street, for them to be able to live a proper life, for them to be able to fulfill their own destiny. So that's been my burden recently.
So this thing is not just poverty. It doesn't just affect physical poverty.
No, it affects you as a person, because when you see every other person, when I was in secondary school, I put goods on my head and I went from street to street. Some of my classmates, they saw me and I felt ashamed of myself, because even though their parents also were not very poor, but they were not hawking on the streets. They were in their house. So I felt ashamed of myself, hawking on the streets, selling something to them. So it's hawking on the street is demoralizing, it's dehumanizing. It's not what anybody should do.
Did your siblings also have to go through the same thing?
Yeah, some of them, at least two of them after me, but after some time, so it still got better for my parents, and they were doing very well. So nobody was doing that again. Maybe I think since maybe 1994. But the two of them after me, they also did similar things. Not as much as I did, but they also did similar things.
Did it, in your own case, you were able to sway through and weather through the situation and become somebody in life? What about your siblings?
Yeah, they are doing well. They are also doing well. They are all in Nigeria. They are also doing well. They all have their family and doing their best.
Were they able to go to school?
Yes, they went. Everybody went to school. Everybody went to university. And to higher institution, polytechnic or university.
So when yes.
I went to Polytechnic initially because I wasn't getting good score. So I went to Polytechnic for 2 years.
Were you getting a good score in WAEC or in JAM?
Both. So I didn't get enough score in JAM. And
what were you filing for?
I was trying to study engineering in the university. And I didn't get required scores. So eventually I went to Polytechnic.
What school?
It's Osun State Polytechnic, Ire.
So you lived there?
So I went to that Polytechnic and I lived there for 2 years.
So how were you able to sponsor yourself through that one?
Yeah, at that time, things were better. I've worked for 2 years as a teacher in primary school.
Okay.
So, and my parents also were doing better at that time also. So I was able to go to Polytechnic for 2 years, and from there, so I crossed over to university.
What university?
University of Science and Technology, Port Harcourt.
From Lagos to Port Harcourt?
Yes, from Lagos to Port Harcourt. Yes.
Who does that?
Because when I finished my Polytechnic, I had a reason to live with my uncle, who is a reverend. He was posted to Port Harcourt, so I was living with him in Port Harcourt. So I went to university in Port Harcourt.
Okay. Now you tell me. When did you first hear about Cambridge?
Most people know Cambridge. I just, you think about Cambridge as somewhere in the space or somewhere that is unachievable. You just know Cambridge. So the first time I ever thought about traveling abroad, I was not even thinking about UK. I was thinking about Jamaica. I didn't have an idea of say Cambridge or UK. So I was thinking that okay.
Nigerians travel to Jamaica.
I don't know. I don't know what. I think I got to know that there's somebody, there's a Nigerian person in Jamaica. So I was like, okay, maybe I could travel to Jamaica. Maybe that person could help me. That was my thought at that time.
Somebody is asking, what year were you in Irene? Is it Irene you call it?
Osun State Polytechnic area. I was there from 1996 to 1998. 1996 to 1998, yeah.
A certain Funmi Moore, I think, says she went there too. Okay, now, so now who are you?
Okay, so now, before now, I was a lecturer at the Covenant University, Otta. Before I moved
after first degree or after second degree?
After my first degree, so I got a job at the Covenant University.
How come you are able to get a job as a lecturer in Covenant University with first degree?
So they employ you as what is called graduate assistants. So you work with a professor while you are doing your master degree and your PhD. So I was employed as a graduate assistant. So eventually we were given a staff development scheme to do our postgraduate program, so MSc and PhD. But even as a graduate assistant at that time, you started teaching. We started teaching. So
did you have a good result or from university or what?
Yes, I got second class upper.
Okay.
I got a 2-1.
I heard that most of Nigerians, the best of the Nigerians, the most common best is 2-1.
It's 2-1, yeah.
That is the dream of most Nigerian students. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Some people finish 1-1.
Yes,
but
first class.
That is very rare, they said.
Yeah, no, it's not that it's very rare. It depends how much of hard work you put into whatever thing you do. When I finished in my department, nobody had ever had the first class. Then I finished, so I finished with a 2-1, very good 2-1.
So that was, you had the best result. You had the best result.
Yes, in my department, when I finished, I had the best results.
From University of?
University of Science and Technology, Port Harcourt.
Department of?
Computer Science.
Computer Science.
Yes, sir.
This lady also said she also studied computer science for me from that Iran, but she was there from 96 to 98.
Yeah, I was in Osun State Polytechnic Iran. I studied statistics.
Okay.
Mathematics statistics. So I had a what is called direct entry, so University of Science and Technology, and I studied computer science.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are good in mathematics or what?
Yes, I'm good in mathematics.
Mathematics mainly or just all science?
I'm very good in mathematics.
Okay.
And also now I do more of programming to do my research.
Yeah, yeah. So you began to teach in Covenant University then you finish your master's in the process?
Yes.
And then you
finished PhD in the process, yes.
And finished PhD in the process. How long were you in Covenant University?
I was there till 2010.
2010?
Yes.
How many years in total?
7 years.
7 years in Covenant University?
Yes.
Teaching?
Yes, teaching, lecturing.
Did you excel? Because what I discovered about myself is that when I was hawking and selling ogi and igi, the firewood and pap, when I was selling and I was hawking, I was very bad in school. Then when my grandmother died, so I had to live by myself. So I was just doing farming. I was planting maize, they call it that time, corn, and then cassava, and then yam, and then there is another kind of yam they used to have in Africa. Is it cocoa yam they call it?
Mm.
Is there anything like that, cocoyam?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So cocoyam. So those are the things I was doing. So I could plan. That was when I started planning. I could structure my life. Because that time was when I discovered that, oh, all these good students that everybody is praising, I discovered their secret. They used to read. So that was when I began to read at night. In the day I will walk, in the night I will not sleep, I will read. So that was, thank God that my mother died, my grandmother died, because she would have been pushing me to go to do things her own way. Because she wanted me to go and walk. So, but now, when I started managing my own life, that was when I could study. I started to study 2 years before I finished school. And that was how I was able to study enough to be able to pass. But then, so I became one of the best students in my WAEC, and I did very well. So I did very well in WAEC, but I even did better in JAMB. Because in JAMB, I was not going to school. I was not going, because when I was in secondary school, I was still going to school, going to farm. But this time, I was just doing, I could do JAMB, not going to school, just going to farm. For me, it was easy because I didn't need to go to school. Just instead of going to school, I was studying by myself and going to farm. So I had enough time, more time to study for JAMB. So I had the third best result in University of Ife for JAMB, but for art. So as an art student. So, but even though I passed JAMB, got the best result in the university, almost third best result. But I couldn't go, you know. I couldn't get money to travel from Ijebu to Ife. Can you believe it? I couldn't, so things were so bad. I couldn't travel, but then God will have mercy on me. I got a scholarship. So, but what I want to say is that when I got to Russia, even though I was good when I finished my university, that I was going up. What I'm trying to say is that I was becoming better. So in primary school was worse. Secondary school was bad. But WAEC was good. But JAMB was better. But when I got to Europe, and nothing was distracting me, and I could see everything is cool, like I was in the aircon. The whole country is like aircon to me. I could eat. I didn't need to look for food. For me, that is like, it's not possible not to look for food. I was not hungry. No need to be hungry. It's a new thing that I'm not hungry. So what will I do with my time? So if I'm not, I don't need to be hungry. I don't need to look for food. So I have all this time to just go and just study alone. I couldn't even believe that there are some human beings living. That the only thing they worry about is just to go and study. So why is anybody failing? I couldn't believe that anybody could fail then. So how can anybody fail? So the only thing, just to sleep, wake up, go read, finish. For me, that is so unusual. So all that energy that I was always using to go to farm, to go to do this, to go and sell, to go and hawk, I now turn it to study. The way I took off in this place. I knew that even though I was the worst student back in Africa, in my village, because of my situation, but now that I'm going to be using all this time to study, I knew that before anybody will beat me, it's going to be very tough. Because I don't know what they are doing with their time, or me, I don't know. But all this time, me, I'm going to use it. I knew how to use it judiciously because I knew how I was using that same time before. So that is how I began to study extra. I don't know what people are doing. Other people are talking, just joking or party or anything. But I knew what to do with my time because I knew that if I had used that time in the farm, I would bring yam back. I will bring cassava back. I will bring maize back. I will bring pap back. I will bring this one back. But now, so I needed to use it to develop my mind and myself. So I was using it to study. That's why after school, I was always going to spend 6 hours in the library. So now, I want to find out from you, did you discover the same thing that as you are going, even though primary school, you didn't remember, secondary school was not bad, but after secondary school, that when things were less distraction, did you get better in Polytechnic? Then from university, did you get even better in university? Then from university as a lecturer, did you even get, that's what I want to say. I want to hear.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened to me. I didn't pass my WAEC the first time, But when I went to Polytechnic, I did well. I got what is called a upper credit. So from there, I crossed over to university. So I got 2-1, and I got the best result in my department at that time. So when I did my master's at Covenant University, I got a distinction.
Wow.
So after my master's, I got a scholarship to Germany.
Because of that distinction.
Yeah, I got a distinction in Covenant University. So from there, I got a scholarship to Germany to study what is called applied bioinformatics.
Okay.
So the scholarship was from the federal, the Ministry of Education in Germany.
Okay.
So I was given that scholarship. So I studied applied bioinformatics, and I also got a very good result. From there, I did.
But why should they give you scholarship for mathematics? Why should they give you scholarship for mathematics when what you studied you studied something else, computer science?
I studied computer science, so I got a scholarship for applied bioinformatics.
Bioinformatics?
Yes, bioinformatics.
Oh, I thought it was mathematics, you said.
No, bioinformatics. So bioinformatics is the application of computer science to biology.
Ah.
So I did that, and I did my PhD also in less than 3 years. So that was very good. So I got my PhD when I was 31 years old.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria, but I did my research. My research for my PhD was done at the University of Heidelberg in Germany. So I was in Heidelberg for 1 year.
So doing bioinformatics and
so PhD. I did the research part of my work was done in Heidelberg, but the PhD was awarded by Covenant University in Nigeria.
All right, but then were you, when you were, because you were working at Covenant University at the same time, how was your grading? Were you being promoted once you finished, because you started as a lecturer assistant?
Yes, I was being promoted every time. So after I got my MSc, so I was promoted.
So you showed them the result and you were promoted?
Yes. So automatically when you get your MSc, so you submit your results and you get promotion to the next level.
Okay.
So after 2 years or when you get a PhD, so you also get promotion also. So that's how you go up until you become a professor.
So you were going up like that. At what time did you get to England and Manchester? What do you call it? Manchester, or what do you call your university?
Cambridge.
Cambridge.
Yes.
How did you get to Cambridge?
Yeah, so I was teaching at Covenant University. I really enjoyed my time at Covenant University. I enjoyed teaching, but I wanted...
What were you teaching?
I was teaching computer science and mathematics.
Okay.
So I enjoyed my teaching, but I wanted to do more of research.
I'm going to put you in a hot soup right now.
Okay, sir.
In a very hot soup. And I know you are not the type that likes hot soup, but since I am a troublemaker myself, but let me put you in hot soup before you continue your story. The soup I want to put you is this. I've had Bishop Oyedepo, very, very ambitious man, very commendable. I commend him. In fact, I think we have same virtues with him, similar characteristics in some things. In terms of passion, in terms of pursuit, in terms of ambition, and things like that. But then, I admire him. But then he says some things sometimes that are just, for me, who is living in Europe and who is a thinking person, I just feel like going to slap him, you know. One of those kind of things he said, and a lot of pastors do this in Nigeria. It's just like Adeboye said, he was going to put all over the world a church in every 5 minutes walk and 5 minutes drive. In every country of the world. I said, he's just sick because it's not going to happen. Because, for example, in this country, for example, there are all sections where you don't just put church in. Because there are industrial areas, even though it's 5 minutes or it's 1 hour. Even between 1 hour for 5 hours, you will not see church there. You cannot. Because it's not allowed. Even though people might be living there, it's residential. You don't put church there. You need permission. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. So even though it's a good idea, good vision, but you cannot say God told you to do that. You know what I mean? God cannot say that because God knows. You might not know, but God knows that in different countries, I mean, that will not work. Even in the UK, it will not work. You can just be putting them in crowded places, but every 5 minutes walk? I mean, are you joking? What do you mean 5 minutes walk? Or every 5 minutes drive? I mean, Are you joking? You know, the whole country will become, I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, just let's face reality. But then what surprises me is that when Nigerian let's say Adeboye is saying that, people will be sitting down, professors, doctors, lecturers, mathematicians, I mean, all kind of people in this, in fact, some of them are his pastors, and they will be saying, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, hallelujah, they will be praying. I don't feel like going to slap all of them and say, oh, are you people sick? Tell the guy that, hey, old man, this is not going to happen. Now, the same kind of thing that I saw with the professor, with the VC, is it VC or the counselor for Oyedepo? Okay, I want to challenge you about it. That's why I say I want to put you in a hot suit. I've heard Oyedepo say this maybe 10 times. I've heard him say it many times. He said, Covenant University, I cannot remember now. I think he said in the next 10 years or in the next 5 years or so, will become one of the top 10 universities in the world. He said that is his vision, that the Covenant University will become maybe in the next 10 years. I don't know that time when he said it, but it means in like a short period of time, Covenant University will become top 10. I said, okay, in Africa maybe, but in the world, that's just sick. That's just crazy. It's not going to happen. You know, I'm not in the academics, right? But I'm not foolish, guy. I know it's not going to happen in 10 years. But I want to ask you, have you heard Bishop say something like that? And is it, how realistic is that? Because I know that for you to be the top, even 1,000 university, I mean, how many researches, how many discoveries? In fact, you have to have produced, for you to be in the top 10, you have to have produced even Nobel Prize winners. You have to have done so many discoveries. I don't know how it works, but this is not Nigeria. This is world. So did you hear that, or you never heard of that?
Yes, I heard that. Yeah, but that was when I left the Covenant University. But what I can tell you about Covenant University is that as of today, that university is one of the very best university in Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the best private university and also top with other university in Nigeria.
Okay.
They've done very well. They put a lot of resources to it.
Okay.
So what we are talking about is what is called Vision 1-10-10. So
what does that mean?
University,
what does that mean?
Covenant University is supposed to be one of the top 10 university in the next 10 years. So me as a person, as an academic person, I'm not an expert in a spiritual thing. So when a man of God when a man of God says that God said this to him, so I just keep quiet. I don't say anything. I'm not there when God said anything to any man of God. So I respect all of them. So when they say that God has said something to them, so I don't argue that.
Okay, when was that vision given? I
think it must be. I left 2010. I know it. I think it must be 2010 or 2011. So we still have there's some time. Maybe in next
2 years,
maybe 4 years time. I think, yeah.
Okay, maybe 2, 3, 4 years time.
4 years time, yeah.
I would have expected the professors and even the VCs and the people who are there to tell him that, hey, Bishop, we know that we don't believe God, though, but at least be realistic.
Yeah, but just like you said, there's some criteria that are used, and so one of them is that the main one is that there has to be some very good publication that is known worldwide. So I believe that they are working towards that.
And then you must have produced a certain number of professors.
Yes.
And you don't just produce professors like going to the room and coming back.
Yes.
It will take. I mean, for you to be in the top. For example, I know a university where my brother went to. That is, and you know your own university. Your own university is in the top 10 in the world, or maybe the top 5.
Yes.
Okay. Now, one of the top universities in the world, which is in the top 10, is they call it Moscow State University. Okay, it's Moscow University. So that university, for them to be in the top 10, apart from the university itself, they have at least 200 institutes. I don't know how many the Cambridge University has, or that small, like you are in one of the institutes, right?
Yes. I'm at the Department of Medicine. So we have a division called computational medicine.
Yeah.
So I'm at that division.
And what's the name of your own institute? Is it an institute or college?
No, okay. I have a joint position with division of computational medicine at the Department of Medicine at University of Cambridge, and an institute called Wellcome Trust Sanger Institute.
Also under Cambridge?
No, under Cambridge, another institute, separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but then you have a lot of other research institutes in Cambridge, isn't it?
Yes, we do.
And colleges.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So, like these people, these other Moscow University, they have about 200 other, institutes, colleges, research institutes, and publications are in the thousands. Publications, maybe, I don't know how many, and professors, they have nothing less than 2,000 professors that they have produced. So, like, I've been trained to use my mind, right? And I question everything. Even if God tells me something now, there are some things God will not tell you. For example, God will not, in this country, in England, there used to be a pastor, get it again. Can you make it come to me? There used to be a pastor in England that they call Gilbert Deere. This Gilbert Deere, funny guy, he doesn't know how things work in this world. Because this Gilbert Deere, he went ahead and started telling people lies. For example, that people are going to be giving birth, or how is it going to do? Yeah. He was telling people, so that you will be able to, he was telling people that people are going to be giving birth in 3 months, that he's a miracle worker. And as a miracle worker, I mean, this is silly. As a miracle worker, he can pray for women who are barren, and the women who are barren will be giving birth they'll be pregnant for 3 months instead of 9 months. It's just like that. There are some things that God will not tell you. God will not tell you that you will be. Hello, Sheku, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I was telling people that are listening to me that there is a. What do I need to do? Okay, good. That there is a certain. Come to my side. I mean, can you move closer this side to the left side of your to my side. To the left side of your side. No, the opposite. Yeah. No, move. You need your head, or the whole body needs to come this side. Otherwise, close. Yeah, that way. Yeah, good. So what I was trying to explain, Shegun, is that, there was this man in England, they called Gilbert Deere. And this Gilbert Deere said he's a miracle worker because he's a man of God. God speaks to him. And that God has given him power to make women pregnant and have children only in 3 months. So he started praying for people, and people were coming out with testimonies. Women were coming out that, yes, in 1 year I gave birth to 3 children. I became pregnant one time. So in one time, I became pregnant 3 times. 3 times pregnancy, 3 months each. I've given birth to 3 children, 6 children. One of them said I gave birth to 6 children in a year. Some of them said 9, 3, every 3 months. And they were coming out to testify. And of course, the gullible charismatics, Pentecostal African believers, they were believing it, that man of God is so anointed. Oh, because you cannot do that kind of miracle. So when people like me question it, they say, because you don't have that power. God cannot use you to do that kind of miracle. That is why you don't have his anointing. That is why you are criticized. Accelerated pregnancy, accelerated sperm, he said yes. So that kind of thing, when I hear Nigerian pastors speak, people like Bishop Oyedepo saying in 10 years we are going to become top 10 universities in the world. I mean, I know he's a joker. I feel like going to slap him and say, hey, wake up, man. That will never going to happen. I guarantee you, I can bet $1 million it's not going to happen. I mean, I can bet $100 million, $1 billion it's not going to happen. Because it's just like saying Gilbert Deere, I'm I'm going to have 10, 3 children in 3 pregnancy in 1 year. You understand what I'm saying? It's just like saying, Adeboye is saying, I'm going to have a church in every 5 minutes drive or 5 minutes walk. I said, come on, you can tell those kind of jokes to Nigerians and Africans, but don't tell those kind of jokes to educated people. I mean, don't play on my intelligence. Don't do that with me. Don't do anything like that where I am. I'm not crazy. Religion has not made me to lose my mind, okay? And I will talk. I'm not like you. You are the one that is well behaved and well brought up in Africa. Me, I'm not well brought up. I left there very early. So I'm not controlled by their culture. I'm controlled by the truth. My own culture is the kingdom culture, and it's the culture of truth. Only truth has authority for me. So when they tell lies like that, I come out and challenge them. I said, Baba Adeboye, God didn't tell you that one. That one, anything over I don't care. Let God tell you. But that one, no, God doesn't say. It's your fantasy. God cannot tell you that you're going to have in every country of the world 5 minutes drive and 5 minutes walk. Because it's not going to happen. Just because of the way nations are built. I'm too exposed to believe those kind of folklores. That's like a folklore. The same thing with Bishop Oyedepo saying that he's going to become top 10 university in the world. That's the story. Let him forget about it. It's not going to happen before he died. Let me even tell him. Not just 10 years. He can live to be 120 years. It will still not happen. Let me tell him. I can bet it with anybody. Because it's not easy. It doesn't just happen like that. People come to church and people come and say some spiritual things and say, God said. And every gullible people believe them, God said. But in this real world, it is not God said that makes things happen. No. It is real laws of reality. It is 1 + 1, 2. There is no God said that can change that. That is just the way this world functions. So, so what is it like being in Cambridge? You need to move again to this side again. That same side again. Yeah, move more, a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, to your left. More, a little bit more. Your body is what I need. I don't need your chair. I just need your body. Yeah, okay. Now better, yes.
Okay, so when I left Commonwealth University 2010, so I went to University of Georgia in the US for a post. So, like I said, I finished my PhD at 31. So when I got to the US, I was very happy that I finished early at that time. But when I got to the US, I saw that I was the oldest postdoc.
Wow. But in Nigeria, you are the youngest.
Yes, I was the youngest at that time. So
in Nigeria?
Yes.
But in the US, you are the oldest.
Yes, I was the oldest in my group. So other people were just 27, 24, 25. And I was very ashamed. So I saw that I had not really done a lot. And so because where I was, it was good for me at that time, but I needed to do more for myself.
Especially if you want to compete with the world. The world standard is different.
Yes. The world standard is different. So I wanted to compete with other people all over the world. Not only people in my region, in my continent, or in my country. So that's why eventually I moved to UK to join my wife. We just finished our master's degree at that time. So since then, that was 7 years ago. So I've lived here in the UK.
Beautiful. Somebody is saying, how did you go from being a street hawker to becoming a Cambridge professor and lecturer? I said they should go and look at something from the beginning because you have told the story already.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm at the moment. I'm not lecturing. I'm just doing research because I'm doing my research work. So I'm a research scientist at the University of Cambridge.
What do you call it? Research
scientist.
Research scientist.
Yes.
Oh, okay. But you are like a doctor there. Like a doctor.
Yes, I'm a doctor. Yes, I'm a doctor. So I'm doing. So it's hard work. I really work hard. So just like what you said, when I left the secondary school, and the result was not very good.
Yeah.
So I went to Polytechnic. It was better. At the university, it was better. So I got my MSc with a distinction, and I finished my PhD very, very quickly. It was very good. And it was hard work. It was a lot of hard work and determination that I wanted to succeed. I wanted to do something good in my life. So, and I'm still here. I'm still struggling to do better than I did previously.
You need to bring your head down because we can't see your, yeah. Okay, lower. Yeah. Good. Yes. So you find Cambridge much more competitive than Nigeria.
Yes.
Tell me about that competition.
Yeah, because when I finished my PhD at 31, people were hailing me. They were saying, you are very young, you are very fortunate, you are very young, you got your PhD. But when I left Nigeria, I saw people that are even in their early 20s and they finished PhD, and they are even much better. So that really made me to even work much harder.
So what we are celebrating in Nigeria could actually be like we are celebrating to some extent mediocrity. To some extent.
Yes, because if you want to be competitive, I think we should be competitive worldwide.
Yes, that's what I believe. Somebody is writing now. Of course now they have to be better. How can you compare Cambridge to Nigeria? But me, I don't reason like that. I don't care. I came from Nigeria and I became better in Europe. And I became better than everybody I became better than Americans, than English people, than Germans. I had people from 99 countries in my university, and I became better than all of them. So I don't care. I don't want to compete with Nigerians. I don't want to compete with Africans. For me, that is waste of, that is not even competition. It's not even work. If anything is worth doing at all, it's better to compete with the whole world. And that is, especially when you are a scientist. When you are a scientist, because the inventions, we just say that, okay, if you are going to be saying you are going to be comparing yourself only to Africans, the inventions are going to be done by all of them. Then you will never invent anything. You will never discover anything. You will just be using. You will never lead. But in this time, we have to lead the world, not just follow the world. I don't know if you agree with what I'm saying.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely. I agree. So we need to be competitive worldwide. And that's what motivated me to stay back. So at the beginning, it was really very challenging for me to catch up with many people. But every year, it was getting better and better and better.
So it was, even though you are good, you are the best in Nigeria, but it was still challenging, competitive for you.
Yes,
when you got here.
Yes.
Wow. So that means that we need to up our games even much more in Nigeria.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'll be left out totally.
Yes.
What will you tell those kids that when you see them selling on the street? What will you tell them?
Yeah, I would say that people have to be determined, and life does not end on the streets. So what I'm doing as a person now is that we are launching a foundation to help as many people as possible from the streets, because we know the negative impact that being on the street might have on them. So we will do our best to get as many people off the streets, and by paying their school fees, by giving them some upkeeping to live a better life and be determined to achieve something good for their lives.
Where is your book? Do you have a copy of your book? Can you show us your book?
So I have a book that I just published. So the book is called Diamond on the Streets. And this book was just published last month during my 40th birthday. So this book it has the story of my life, how I grew up, and what happened to me, what went right and what went wrong.
There is somebody coughing near you there. Can you tell the person to go to another room?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Okay.
So that's the book. So the book is available on Amazon. It's also available on the Okada Books. So anybody can get a copy from there.
Okay, beautiful. It's called Diamonds on the Street. You know what I feel like doing with this, your book? I feel like distributing it to everybody that is hawking in the street of Lagos and in all the streets of Africa, because so that they will have vision. that you went from Auckland in the streets of Lagos to Cambridge. That every one of them, not just Cambridge to work as a student, but as a worker, as a scientist, as a scientist. That is mind-blowing. Okay, before we go, I only have one more question for you. How did you come across Pastor Sunday Adelaja, and what have you learned from him?
So when I went to Germany, that was in 2006. So that was during the FIBA World Cup, Germany 2006.
Yes.
So I went to a place called To Begin.
Yes.
And everybody was asking me, do you know Sunday Adelaja? Do you know Sunday Adelaja? I never heard that name before.
In Germany?
Time. Yes.
You see,
so
you see what is happening? In Nigeria, you are in Nigeria and coming from Nigeria, you never had Sunday Adelaja before.
No.
Even though you were in Covenant University, a Christian university.
No, I never had.
And you were a Christian.
Yes.
But Germans knew who Sunday Adelaja was, but you didn't know who Sunday Adelaja was.
No, I didn't know.
So who are the people asking you? Are they Nigerians or Germans?
No, they were all Germans.
Asking you, do you know Sunday Adelaja?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So only one person asked me if I knew JJ Okocha. So I was like, oh, okay, you are using your sense because this is during World Cup. So you should ask me about the footballer. But any other person were asking me about Adelaja. So I went to do a bit of research and check. So I read.
So in Nigeria, for example, most people also know who JJ Okocha is, but they don't know who Sunday Adelaja is. But you see what is happening in Europe. In America also, people know who Sunday Adelaja is, but they don't know who JJ Okocha is. You see, even though he played in Germany, even though JJ Okocha played in Germany, but compare the percentage of people who are asking you who knows Sunday, who do you know Sunday Adelaja to JJ Okocha. One person was asking about JJ Okocha, and about 3 or more were asking about Sunday Adelaja, right? Okay.
So I guess maybe before that time, maybe you visited their church. I don't know, a very big church called TOS, TOS. TOS. It was a church, very big.
Maybe I don't remember.
Yeah. So they were just very happy. So they were disappointed that I didn't know Adelaja. So I just I did a bit of research and check. So I read your profile at that time. And so since then, so 2016, 10 years after, on Facebook, so I saw that you were posting some articles. That was early 2016. So I was trying to read that article, but your pace was too fast for me because you were posting like 2 articles in a day.
Yes.
So you post one in the morning, I post one in the evening. So I was struggling to catch up with your posting. So eventually, around May, early May, you did the live book. I was so happy because that was easy for me to just listen to the live book. So since that time, that was since May 2016. So I've been listening to the live broadcast consistently.
So how did you know, what was your first impression about this man, that you never knew about, and yet it's from Nigeria?
Yeah. So what that got me hooked up with you was the first message that you preached on live broadcast. It's about you cannot love God. You cannot love God. You cannot say that you love God by not loving people. You cannot be serving God by not serving people. You cannot say that you honor God by not honoring people. That really got me. It was as if I never had a message about love before. That was really strange to me. So I was like, okay, so I need to show that I love people. I need to love people practically. And the next day, when I got out of my house, I look at my neighbor who I assume to be gay. I look at him differently. Because now I want to show love to him. I want to express love of God to him. So I look at my life. I look at the way I've practiced Christianity before. There was a time that I was doing, when I was in Port Harcourt, I would wake up very early in the morning, around 5 a.m. So I will be doing what is called morning cry. I will take a megaphone and I'll be preaching to people everywhere. So now I saw that as that's not the right way to love. So to love people, because I was not honoring them.
Yeah.
I was expecting them. I was not allowing them to even enjoy their sleep.
Yeah.
That was not an effective way of passing the love of Christ to people. So I used to also do deliverance when I finished university. During my university days, because I was a leader also in the university fellowship. I used to do deliverance, and one time before, when I was doing deliverance, I've once slapped a girl before, because she was violent. So, and
Where?
the most
What country was that?
That was in River State.
I hope you didn't do that in Germany or in England, or you'll be in prison. Or...
No, that was River State. When I was in the university, I was a fellowship leader in university. So we did village crusade, and we're doing the deliverance. And because she was violent, so I slapped her, and I was really proud of it.
Wow.
So when I was like, oh, I've slapped devil out of her. Because eventually I was able to cast out a demon. So I felt like, okay, I'll slap devil out of her. So when I listened to that message, I was like, that is not the way to honor people. That's not the way to love people. You can't say that you love people. You can't say that you love God without honoring them, without loving them. So for the first time, when you talk about the Good Samaritan, I got that message differently. I said, oh, so even though this person was a pastor, he was going to church, but he saw somebody that was wounded on the road. He didn't do anything. He didn't show love. He thought that he was going to serve God, but he's not serving God in the church that he has gone to, because he has left that person on the road. And just ordinary person, a good Samaritan, did the right thing. So I saw Christianity differently, that it's not about love. It's not about compassion. It's not about relationship. Anything that is void of that is not Christianity. It cannot be Christianity. Because Christianity should only be about relationship, about compassion, and about love.
Beautiful.
So since then, I got like, I have to listen to this person. I have to listen to what he's saying, because what we're saying really caught me.
And you started following since then?
I started following since early May 2016, up to date.
How has your life improved since?
Yeah, my life has improved, because now I see people differently. When I had a message, when I went to drop my daughter in school, I paid attention to everybody there. I wasn't doing that before. I didn't notice people. I didn't know that people were going around. But I saw people. I said, oh, only God knows what this person is going through. Only God knows. So you started seeing that love, practical love. I started showing practical love to people. And that is most important to anybody that wants to be a Christian.
Wow. Let me ask you one more question. Do you think there are still many people who will come out of the streets of Nigeria, out of the hawking in the street to make it to Cambridge?
By the grace of God, I've just launched a foundation last month. So the foundation is called Boaz Foundation. And so the vision is to get people out of the streets and help them to fulfill destiny, to do what God has put in their mind to do. So I believe that there's too many people, there's so many diamonds on the street of Lagos, on the street of Kigali, all over Africa, that they need somebody that will help them. There's somebody like me and somebody like everyone that is listening to me now, that will help them to be able to fulfill their destiny.
Okay, what about, how can they find you? What's your Facebook page?
On Facebook, you can just look for Boaz Foundation, BOAS.
S or Z?
S.
S, okay.
Yes.
Boaz Foundation.
BOAS.
One word.
One word. Boaz Foundation.
On Facebook.
And on Facebook. So at the moment, we're just doing a lot of awareness. We are looking for ambassadors, people that we don't need any money from the ambassador. We just want them to help us identify those diamonds that are on the streets. We want people that are very genuine. Just tell us that this person needs some support, and you help us interview them, because we want them to sign a contract with us that they will not be on the street again as long as we pay their school fees.
What about your own personal email, sir? I mean, not email, Facebook.
My Facebook is Segun Fatumo.
Simple.
Yeah, simple. I think I'm the only Segun Fatumo.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a name is that? Why that name?
That's my name. Segun means Victor.
No, what about Fatumo?
Fatumo is my great-grandfather's name.
Why is it that we don't hear it? We don't come across it often?
I don't know.
Because like my own Adelaja, you see Adelaja everywhere.
Yes, but Fatumo is not very common. People that are Fatumo, probably my people from my cousins or my brothers somewhere.
Okay.
Extended family, yeah.
Wow. How did you meet your wife? Where?
I met my wife in Port Harcourt.
I thought she was Yoruba as well.
Yes, she's Yoruba. She's Yoruba. So initially we met in Lagos. She saw me in Lagos. I didn't meet her in Lagos. She saw me in Lagos in our church. We were Baptists in Lagos. So when I moved to Port Harcourt to study, so she came to my uncle's church, and since then we became friends and we got married.
Wow. They say, where do you hail from Osun State? What town?
From Masifa Ejigo local government.
Oh, yo. Say that again.
Masifa, Masifa, Masifa Ejigo local government, Osun State.
But what about the village?
The village is Masifa. The local government is Ejigo local government.
Oh, okay. I got it now. Wow. Your wife is so sweet like that. Do you mean that Baptists can produce people like that?
Yeah.
And you yourself, you are so sweet. People like that come from Baptists.
Yes, we're Baptists. I was Baptist.
I think that we need to begin to honor and elevate more these kind of churches like Baptist, Methodist, and all those mainline churches. I think they now produce more level-headed people than the charismatic and the Pentecostals. Anyway, I'm supposed to go on air in the next 15 minutes. Can you believe it? I cannot have, this is the most I've done with anybody. 15 minutes, I'm coming live. Thank you so much, Sheikh Fatima. It was nice being with you. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful. Let's meet in the next